हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय अनदर वीडियो ऑफ स्नोफ्लेक। तो आज की वीडियो में हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं लोडिंग ऑफ द डाटा, जो हम लोग प्रीवियस वीडियो में हम लोग ने डिस्कस किया था। उसके साथ साथ हम लोग देखने वाले हैं कि लोडिंग ऑफ डाटा में हम लोग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन भी कर सकते हैं, किस सिनेरियो में ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की ज़रूरत पड़ती है। सेकेंडली कि अगर आपको किसी सबसेट ऑफ डाटा को लोड करना है तो उसको भी कैसे करते हैं, इसमें क्या कंस्ट्रेन है। तो मोस्टली लोडिंग ऑफ डाटा के बारे में इस वीडियो में रहने वाली है। हाँ दोस्तों, अगर आपने चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो प्लीज़ चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लें और अब मेरे वीडियो को लाइक एंड शेयर जरूर करें। When we load the data into the Snowflake, so generally we load the full data into the Snowflake. We don't apply any of the transformation when doing the loading. But in most of the cases, or in many other cases, you will have some business logic where you have to apply some filter during the SQL or during the copy command. I mean to say that in some of the business scenario में क्या होता है कि आपके पास कुछ फिल्टर आउट करने के लिए कि कुछ रिकॉर्ड्स फिल्टर आउट करना है, एक पर्टिकुलर चीज़ पे चेक लगाना है, कुछ केस स्टेटमेंट लगाना है। तो इस तरह के चेक्स यू कैन राइट व्हेन यू आर डूइंग द कॉपी कमांड, व्हेन यू आर कॉपिंग फ्रॉम द स्टेज टू द टेबल। So in that case you need to write the SQL, you need to write the SQL which we'll see in this video, and there are some constraint also in that SQL bucket में मैंने एक न्यू डाटा रखा है जिसमें अराउंड 4 कॉलम्स हैं एंड अराउंड 4 to 5 इसमें डाटा है। मैं इसमें आपको दिखाता हूँ employee.csv, इसमें आप क्लिक करो, यू कैन ओपन इट। सो वी हैव 4 rows विथ एंड 4 कॉलम्स। तो इसे हम लोग लोड करेंगे एंड we'll see that what all things we can do in the loading part. So ये Snowflake का we have this worksheet which we are using in the previous video. So I have created one new table which is called employee data. इस टेबल में we have 4 columns. I'll show you the column employee data. We have name, address, month, and salary. First we'll create it again. So this table is created in my class DB database, and you can see here tables, and this is the employee data. So the details you can see just by hovering the mouse here, or you can go to 3 dots and you can have more information about this table. We have the same stage here, AWS class stage, and we'll see that which file it is pointing with. So in the previous video, we have seen that with the help of list, you can look into what are different files inside this particular stage. This is an external stage. When you click on this, so you will see that this employee.csv file is being pointed out because in that particular bucket, you can see this bucket, we have only one source emp.csv. Now what we are going to do, we are going to load this data into employee table. So we are going to load the employee table with the particular emp.csv file. So we'll run this command, copy into this table. This is the fully qualified name. We'll mention name and address. This is not necessary. We have to remove this because this example we'll see in the subset when we load the subset of data. So in our case, we are directly loading the full data with all the columns in this table. So employee data has 4 columns, you can see here in the left corner. And we are getting it from the stages, AWS stage class, file format is CSV, delimiter type is comma, and we are skipping the header. And force is equal to true means if the metadata of the table has not been refreshed, so this will force this command to run, means this will force the command to load the data. So we'll run this command and we'll see that 4 rows has been put into this particular table emp data, and you can see the data from here. Okay, now we have a different scenario in which we want to load only name and address. We don't want to load month and salary. This is a very unique scenario. Generally you don't see in most of the database people doing that, but being an analytical database, being a data warehousing, so this scenario will be required, can be required in most of the business use case. So I want to load only name and column. I don't want to load months and salary for particular rows. The value of it can be null by default, but we don't want to load the months and salary. So how we can do that? So we can just use this. We have to mention here the command will be the same copy command, and we can mention name and address, and we have to mention which column we want to load. So it is $1 means first column and $2 means second column. A is the alias of this fully qualified stays, AWS stays, and rest other things, the CSV, delimiter, and everything will be remaining same. So the difference is we are mentioning the column name, the column position, and nothing else, and the other things remains the same. So before this, I want to delete the data. So before this, I want to delete the data from EMP data. So now we don't have any data in the employee table, so nothing is there. So we are going to run this command, this copy command, and we'll see 4 rows has been passed, but column will be restricted. We can see it here. If you do the select star from this table, we'll see that 2 columns data has been populated for all the rows, but the months and salaries are still null, means we are not loading this thing. So we can do some other business logic on this thing, depending on the business use case. So this is how we load the subset of the data in on the column basis. So on the row basis, you can load it by just applying the filter command. So we'll see that you can write any SQL command here, but there is a restriction. Like we have mentioned here, select, you can use case, you can do other, you can use filter here. The all the most of the command of the SQL can be put into this subset in this bracket, but there is restriction. If you go to the documentation of Snowflake, so this is the guide for data load transformation. You can see here in the heading. So this is for the Snowflake query supports the following subset of the function for copy command. So for copy transformation, when we do the copy transformation, when we move the data from the stage to the table, when we are going to load the data into the table from the stage, we use copy command. And in this copy command, you can see these all things are, these all commands, SQL commands are allowed, like concat, char, cast. If you're using any SQL command which, and you find some error, some syntax error or some unknown error while using the copy command, that means that is not supported. You can go to this document, you can read this document, and then you can come to know like what all things are allowed, what all things are not allowed. And this can be a very good interview question, like very commonly used, some of the commands may not be applied into this copy use case. So that you need to find out, make the note of it. And you need to go through this document. This will give you the more insight about the types of data being loaded with this copy command. So we have the format, file format also being discussed into this particular page, but we'll also see the file format in the later stage. But now you know that how we can write, load the subset of the data, which all commands are, which all SQL commands are allowed in this select statement. And you have already known that how you create a stages and how you load the data. So we are going to look into the error, how we load the data with the error. If there is an error in the record, so what are the different ways, different constraints we can apply while loading the data. So now if you see the data here, I have loaded another file, empcs emp underscore error. So you can go to this bucket and this source file. So you can see there is a file called emp underscore error. So if you click on this and if you open this, you will see that what I have done in the case of salary, I have given ABC, I have not given the numeric value. So earlier we were using varchar, so in that case there won't be any issue. But if you see the new table, I have created a new table called emp data underscore error, and in this table I have given the salary as integer. So this table will accept salary as an integer. If there is no integer, it should give an error. So I currently don't have the data in the emp data error, but I'll just truncate it. So this table is created. You can see here, if you refresh here, you can see the table here. This is test data and this is emp data error. We have all the columns, and which salary is the number. You can see the integer value. So what we are going to do, we are going to load the data from the stage. Before that, we'll see that what file is being shown in the stage with this list command, and this is very important to know. before running any command, load data command or copy data command, because we must be sure that which file this stage is referring to. So this is referring to the new file emp underscore error. So now we'll just simply load the run the command. So we'll not use any constraint here. We will directly load the data into emp data error table. So we don't have data in the emp data error. So if we run this command, you don't have any record. So you will go into this and you're directly loading the data from this stage file format CSV and this. So if you run this command, you will get an error. The error is numeric value ABC is not recognized. Row number 2. So we in the row number 2 we have given salary as ABC. So it is giving you the suggestion also if you want to skip file or what you want to continue or you want to put on error option. So we'll see that what are different options we can use to either bypass this or we have to abort, or if you want to abort the load. So what are the process we need to do? So we'll see now in this video. Now we don't have data into this table, so you can again you can check that the load has been aborted, so there is no data. Now what we are going to do, we are going to use continue. Like if there is an error, then skip that particular error record, but the loading should continue. The loading should not fail. So you for that you have to use on underscore error, and you have to specify the in this switch you have to specify the condition continue. So if I run this command, you will see that loading will happen and row parsed has been 4, loaded has been 3 because error was 1. So see error is 1 and you can see what is the error. EMP data error for salary column 4. So now when you go and see the data which is being loaded here, so you can see the 3 records had been loaded. The one record in which the salary was not the numeric value, integer value, so that has been skipped. So this is one way, like if one option on error continue. We'll first truncate it so that we can run another example and we'll recheck if there is any data into this table. So there is no data. Now we are going to use on error is equal to abort statement. Means if there are millions of record in a file, if a particular record is an error, if any one single record is having the error, it will just abort the full load. So now in this one more scenario can be if in this S3 bucket, we can have multiple files, employee table. So file 1, file 2, file 3. All will have the same structure, then only it can be loaded into Snowflake, otherwise it will give an error. So if you have multiple files, we can specify the file name. We can specify files. We can write it here, files, and you can put the file name here like ABC, comma another file, file 2, file 3. You can specify the file name. But for our example, we have only one file, so we don't have to specify the file name. And we are going to use on error is equal to abort statement. So this will abort the load statement whenever there is an error. So if we run this one, unexpected error. Okay. Now when you go here, so no data has been loaded. Now, okay. So we'll run the on error abort statement command. So in this one, the load should abort. So when you're going to run it, it will give numeric ABC is not recognized, the same error like this. There is an error, and when you see the data here, there is no data, right? So on error abort statement will abort the load statement. Now there is another thing where you can use, like if you have multiple files, then you can use tell that skip underscore file, forget about underscore 2, skip file. Means if there are 3 files, for example there are 3 files, if file 1 gets an error, there is an error data in a file 1, then it will skip particular file, but it will load the another file into this particular tables. So we are using single file, that is fine, but we should know like skip file option is there. Now there is another thing I'll just show you. I'm just going to use continue first, then we can know about the error limit. You will see this column, there is called an error limit. So error limit means you can give the threshold limit for the error. For example, there are 10 records in a table in a stage, and you have told this Snowflake that if there is two error, if the record maximum error in this 10 record is 2, then abort it, and if it is less than 2 error, then you can load the table partially, you can partially load it. So in this case the error limit is 4. That means till 4 error you will pass the full data. So now if we can give, if we give file underscore size equal to, for example, 2, and we have one error here, so what will happen, we'll see. So first we'll truncate the table, and we will just remove the data for our use case purpose. So we have this truncate command here, and we'll see if there is any record, if there should not be any record. Now we are going to use, because in the data we know there is one record which is having an error. So we are trying to give skip file underscore 2. Now you see error, one error seen, error limit is 2. Now this value has changed. Earlier the value was 4, now its value is 2. So error limit is 2, and you can see what is an error, and we'll see that if it is loaded, it has loaded the data. If you click on this, is yes, it has loaded the data. Now what I'm going to do, I will do skip file 1. So there is one error and one skip file, but for that I will truncate the table, and then I'll run this. So we'll run this command. So here you see rows loaded is 0 because we have given the limit as 1. So if you get one error, then don't load the data. So data has not been loaded. When you use another number higher limit, like for example 4, or for example 3, and we know that in the data we have only one record as an error, so in this case the loading will happen properly till the record which are corrected. So 3 rows has been loaded because error limit I have given this 3, and error seen is 1. So if error seen is 3 or more than 3, then this loading would have been aborted. So I think we are clear about what is a skip error, skip file. This is a new thing, new kind of thing. Like you can apply the threshold for the loading. There's an abort statement, on error, on error, on error. We have three things: on continue, abort statement, and skip file. In this skip file, we can give the percentage also, like 30% of the data, 20% of the data is the error limit. So number also you can give, and you can give the percentage. If you have any doubts, anything related to this load and stage thing, please post in the comment. I'll come up with the answer. If you have any specific doubts, you want to know about the career path of data engineering, you can directly mail me. I'll reply to you. I'll try to guide you. I'll give you the solution. So I'll see you in the next video with the another topic. So next topic with the Snowflake will be the file format topic. तब तक के लिए goodbye, take care and happy learning.